Alright, so today I'll be focusing, as I told yesterday, on combining pages together. I'm not quite sure that's gonna be easy to implement and that, I'll mention it today, but I'll try to do my best. I don't have that much time, unfortunately, but it's better than nothing. So, yeah. Okay, so I was thinking about different approaches on how I can combine pages. First obvious thing is, of course, introduce new page command, which would separate different pages, but it's not something I want to introduce. Simply because I need combining pages only for sounds, not necessarily for general things and visual stuff. So introducing combination of pages or page command, I think it would just increase complexity, and it's not necessary, because I had the idea that I have some kind of like mechanism of adding new pages on front end, and if you follow those if you follow some rules, you can manage the size of those pages so they don't grow quite big, and keeping different pages on different tabs is preferable, rather than keeping all the pages in one editor. Not only because it's just less text for each page, but also I think that text area in HTML is just horrible at handling big amount of text. So and in general, just parsing all the pages at once while you're typing. Although I optimize it like in a way that the highlighting only getting updated only the only lines that you affect by your typing is being updated. So I don't parse each time you click a button, all the text in text areas. So so different approach would be somehow to maybe introduce this page command only for MIDI export, but this is also not quite clear and easy. Another approach is just to combine all the measures from different pages as if it's just one big page. And what comes to usual is visual stuff. I'm just gonna combine those things in tests, and that's about it. But I'm not still quite sure which format I should choose. I've been thinking about that during the day, how I would approach this thing, but I just come up with some idea. I'm not quite sure that's the best idea, but to me it seems like it's worth considering. So if I open by the way, let me just in general check that I think I pulled all the changes. Oh yeah. Let me introduce, and I think I need to change the stream title. Okay. Okay, so I would probably call this stream is I would call it combining pages for MIDI expert. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, so so yeah. Let me call the branch name accordingly. Yeah. Okay, so I need to figure out how to yeah, I was just explaining how it's done. So I have folder in my web application which is called Unilang, and this folder of course contains audio tests. And audio test is just simple txt file which is basically the input for audio tests. And of course each file has its own name. I don't specify like what's going on in each test because it's just overwhelming, and it's better to open the test to see visually what it represents rather than reading it, I think. And I mean, the amount of tests in the future I think will exceed thousands. I think the number will be more than 1,000 for sure. At least I hope it will be that much, because I believe that the more tests you write, the better chance that your software can be called robust or something like that. So yeah. So this is what comes to current setup. Right now I'm thinking, okay, so for example, I have these examples, like first example and the second example, and as you see it has pages like example 2 with page 1, example 2 page 2, and etc. And I'm thinking, how can I combine those those pages, and how can I combine them in a tests? That's the biggest issue that I have. And of course I was talking about introducing page index to distinguish different elements, so you would know on which page those elements are in. But I think it's the next step. I think the biggest thing I can do right now is just to combine all the measures from different pages into one virtual page. So I'm thinking right now, what can I do? Yeah, the idea is like I'm creating new sort of test, but it's not gonna be, I guess, I mean, I'll call this folder Unilang because each file has content which can be considered a unilanguage. But if I'm gonna, I just want to check the sound real quick. Yeah, I think it's alright. So I'm thinking, like, if I'm gonna combine those pages somehow, I'm not quite sure how exactly, but if I'm gonna combine those pages, how would I do this? So the idea generally is like, I'm gonna create a file. I'm not quite sure that those files will be in the same folder, but ideally it should be something like that, where like I can kind of like combine them. For example, I don't know, I can call it like example1.txt, and I can just specify the pages here, like example 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and that's about it. So I'm just gonna refer to those tests, and by this test I will create sort of visual tests. But the problem with this approach is that this text is not unilink. That's the biggest problem here. So right now I'm thinking maybe I can do it differently. Maybe I can combine those examples, like, or rather pages in that example differently. Which format I should choose? That's kind of like the question. And yeah, I don't have like clear answer. But if we just omit the assumption that those files, they must contain they must contain only unilink, then of course I can choose this approach, but I'm not quite sure that philosophically speaking it's correct. And I just want to avoid confusion at all costs where where it's unnecessary. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out the idea, because like the main pitfall here is those txt files are kind of like input, and I also want to use this thing as an input. So yeah, another thing I'm kind of like guessing is that I can choose certain, so like I can choose somehow the name format, which will assume that, okay, so if such files exist, we should combine them. Not only we should create separate tests for them, but also we might combine them in one big test. That would work actually. This idea I like more, although it's still, I don't know, it can create uncertainty, like if I don't know, if someone opens this project at one day and he might not understand where this test coming from, right? So we should choose the file name format so explicit that it would be obvious what's going on here. So yeah. Okay, so let me delete this file and let me think about the file name format for this. Obviously it's not like this one, because example 1.1, what even does it mean? I mean, I'm not quite sure, right? And yeah. But what can I do actually? I can actually rename it like example 1 page 1, example 1 page 2, example 1 page 3, and in that case this thing I suppose would work. So yeah, I mean, we should try it, I think. So yeah, I think the first step is just to rename this thing like example 1 page 1. Yeah, now let's rename this thing right now. Okay, so this is next page. And I think this is the so I'm just gonna experiment on the first example just to be sure. And when I run the command for creating tests, or rather test resources, there are different folders which also contain like audio tests resources, and for example for errors I create so those are outputs. So for example, there is actual output and there is an expected output. So expected output is something being created when you create the test itself, and actual output is the output when this is the output of your test run. When each time you run a test, it will update those files and it will compare corresponding files in actual folder with corresponding files in expected folder. If they're equal, then test obviously passes. Otherwise, it fails. So I'm just thinking maybe somehow I can delete existing tests and recreate with new with new file format names. So I already have this command which is called npm run test audio delete, and I need to just paste name. Okay, so it deleted everything, and you can notice that this test can no longer be deleted because it's been deleted already. So I sort of I'm using like save delete method, which is kind of like custom method, because otherwise it will throw the error in Node.js. So okay, so let me just delete other tests. All right. Okay, so as you see, yeah, in many parts of the web application, we've been deleting the tests. So right now, I'm just trying to. Okay, so let's create resources for sort of for new test files. Okay. Okay. Now we must create sort of so we have like template, I think. Let me find it. Okay, those are visual tests. Those are audio tests. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I should have called how to say, like, create subfolder with name highlighting, because those HTML files that you can see here are related to highlighting. But anyways, I mean, since HTML doesn't have anything else, I think it's all right. And yeah, so okay, so there is a file which is called test types for specific test. Not sure why I chose such name, but yeah. Okay, it's just here, and you can see that we got HTML highlights. Yeah, we got different sort of things where, like, it takes URL parameters with the test name, etc. and etc. So yeah. So right now I'm thinking maybe I can create different template where I can where can update those things. And funny part is that I don't necessarily need to have a button update test for combined pages, because all I need is just to update certain pages, and they'll be automatically updated, I suppose, in this case. So that's that. And yeah. So and of course we need to create sort of I think we need to create sort of name format for combined tests, or I don't know how to call them. Tests with combined pages or something like that. So that's that. Okay, so if we it includes this file. So, and we are working with ePage with URL template from EHTML framework. So check it out if you haven't. It's really a great tool. So I'm thinking maybe I should create template which is called if, like this one, and I can check if test name has kind of like sort of interesting name. I could include different template here. So yeah, I don't know if this supported, by the way, but I hope it does support this thing. So I mean it should, right? Because I'm using this thing here. So yeah, I think it should work. Okay, so right now let me just create this thing, and the condition I think will be quite simple. Yeah, there is certain problems with evaluation of variables here. I don't think that I will encounter them today, but some time ago I encountered some of the troubles with evaluating, those variables here. So I don't work, unfortunately, on HTML as much as I wish I would. So yeah, sometimes you got to choose your priorities, and I'm right at this point I'm quite satisfied with the quality of my framework, although of course in the future I would be happy to decrease its size and clean everything up there, but unfortunately at the moment I cannot afford that many hours. But it's better to stay positive. I think there will be time when I'll do these wonderful things. Anyways, so basically I'm trying to maybe understand how I would call those like tests. Let me think. Maybe is there any function in Node.js which is like, let's say, yeah, there is ends with. Cool. Okay, I just don't want to use regex for obvious reasons. So end with. So let's say with all pages, I guess. Okay, that's it, and and yeah, this is extremely simplistic way of doing things, but you know, my framework is not that powerful. I don't think that I have else template. Yeah, I don't think I got one. So if it doesn't end with this thing, we just working as previously. But if it does contain this thing, then I guess we're including test types for specific tests with combined pages. Let's call it here as well with combined with combined pages. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think it should work. And now let's create this thing. So test types for specific test with combined pages. I'm not quite sure that this is proper name, to be honest. Yeah, let's rename it, because specific it means something certain, something one, so I would rather test types for test with combined. I'm not even quite sure that test types is the right name. I guess it's because types, by types I think I mean like errors, highlighting, SVGs, like MIDI, so maybe it's a good name, I don't know. Test types for test with combined pages. Okay. Alright, so okay. So yeah, let's remove this specific word here. Now, what can we do right now? So I need to think, how can I... first of all, yeah, I think I need to somehow find those tests, so and create such templates. Okay, so not quite sure. Okay, so test name. All visual tests. So yeah, by the way, I think the correct name will be all audio tests, and here as well. Okay, so this one less error, and yeah. Okay, so how it would work? I'm opening the page in browser, And how I would know how many actually tests or how many pages are there? Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so maybe um, okay, so maybe along with test name I can put the sort of argument number of pages or something like this, which is not mandatory field, but yeah, I think it will kind of help me to understand better what's going on. And yeah, I think this thing is not necessary here because it's not used. I think this thing also not used here, but it's used, I think, in this particular case, like number of pages. And so yeah. Okay, so when I open the browser window with URL, it shows me the test name and it also shows me the number of pages. And I need to figure out how to use this thing. Yeah. And also like the test name. I think the test name I should generate in a way that I delete the page postfix. Yeah, it would work only in this case. So I think I need to create template, and the template is called E for each. Right now I need to remember. Yeah, I need to recall the attributes. You know what? I have a wonderful documentation, so why don't I open it and read? So, if for each. Yeah, sure, let's take a look at the example. So yeah, so data list to iterate and data item name. Okay. Okay, so I can iterate only over the over the list. So can I create some array here? I don't know if I can. That's very interesting question because I don't think I have support for iterating over, from some number to a certain number. Yeah. Okay, so what can I do? Maybe I can create, let me think. So what if I can create new array with length 5 probably, and let's say, okay, yeah, maybe I can do something like this: new array and URL params number of pages and number, and let's say we have div and okay, so let me check this thing in general, like for example, I don't know, where can I check this thing, like even in index, I guess, HTML, right? Okay, yeah, I think I can do here, just to check that the idea works. And let's say we've got here data text, which is, I don't know, which is the number. Yeah. Okay, now let me, yeah, and here, since we don't have number of pages, let's say we have 10. All right. Let me open the let me open the index page. Okay, something went definitely wrong here. Let's log out. Okay, yeah, something. Oh, okay, yeah, I don't have support for that. Oh wow, okay, that's really sad that I don't have support. But you know what, I really like the error message that I see, that I can use if for each only for mapping objects in attribute detection and response. So it means like from Ajax requests. And I even write this thing. Probably in the future there'll be elements that would help you map global elements. Maybe. Yeah. So now I try to understand, can I actually, can I actually do something about it, or not? That's funny because if I think works already for global elements, I guess, or maybe not. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. Okay, so I have two choices. First choice is just, to add this support in HTML. Not sure how long it would take, but I think in general it's a useful thing to do. Or just come up with some alternative solution, which wouldn't require if for each here. but the more I think, I guess, the more I understand that I need to figure out how to support this thing. Yeah. So let me just open the how to say, the EHTML project. Let me also check if I'm on the master branch. Let me pull the latest changes. Okay, now yeah. Yeah, the same goes for reusable. Okay, let me find the if. Okay, it's a build file. Yeah. Okay, now let me figure out what's going on. Okay, so I'm just, yeah, it's just not implemented. That's basically about it. So, can I actually apply this thing? I don't know. Maybe I can, maybe I cannot. So it's just if for each template, so yeah. So let me think. I will probably not be able to finish it today, but at least I can come up with some ideas how can I solve this thing in the future. So there is an action which is called I don't really remember the folder name, but I think it's a sync DOM. In here I'm trying to find the right file name. So I think it's called somehow element with mapped object. So yeah. Yeah, I think this stuff. Yeah. So what I'm looking at is just release template. So so yeah, this template is template if for each, then activate if for each, and let me think how I'm doing this thing. So so yeah, I don't think it's that difficult. The only concern that I got is just oh, actually, yeah, I think this thing, oops, sorry, this thing like kind of like works by itself. If I'm not mapping, then it's not activated, but if it's getting activated by itself, then it's all good. So yeah, I think this is how it works. And if I'm not mistaken, if we take a look, if we copy this code and we kind of like do the analysis, I think it's basically the same with few tweaks, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Applied expressions in string. So we got like mapping element to display, initialization, and the object. Yeah, those things are quite different, I must say, because those things require different things. Yeah, I think I got it. Okay, yeah, because in mapping, when we map on something, then I mean from the response, then in that case we kind of like have sort of, mapping objects or something like that. So yeah, I think implementing if for each, like the bottom line, implementing this class wouldn't take that much time, although I don't have it even today, but yeah. And I will start working on this feature in EHTML. I will properly test it tomorrow, and hopefully we can continue with combining pages. It's always good then you got sort of how to say, when you got your framework being improved by your product, which is a really bless. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't have that much time today. I also had like problems with internet because I forgot to pay for it, and I don't know, usually when I pay for this specific provider, it takes like up to 1 hour to for my account being processed or something like that. So the internet will be reconnected, but yeah, I just lost this time. I didn't want to, of course, stream through the mobile data because it will cost a lot, and I'm not quite sure how eventually how the quality of the video will be. So anyways, I think it's a good progress in this time frame, and I think I got clear plan for improvements, and it's always inspiring when you can make such progress, or at least have some ideas for any progress at all. So yeah, I think that's about it.